Class, I have uploaded the new version of chapter 7 in Microsoft Teams. Okay, any question regarding our class on last Monday? Can I understand? Okay, class. This is what we have discussed on last previous class. Okay, actually, there is a mistake of VR2 and VR4. Okay, so to find VE, VE is equal to VR2 minus VR4 or VR4 minus VR2. Okay, but to calculate VR2, it is equal to 2.5K. Okay, because of the position of R2 is at the middle. So 2.5K divided with 5K. Okay, multiply with 5 volt. And then minus VR4. Okay, VR4 is moved about to 0.5 towards A. So 2.5 plus 0.5 becomes 3. So 3 inch. So R4 is 3 over 5 multiplied 5K. It is 3K. So at the end we will get the same answer because we can VR2 minus VR4 or VR4 minus VR2. Okay, because we take the positive value. Okay, this so last Monday we learned about resistive transducer. One of the application of resistive transducer is strain gauge. Okay, the other one is potentiometer. Okay. So for strain gauge, there is a calculation on strain gauge. Okay, actually we have 3 types of strain gauge: wire, foil, and semiconductor strain gauge. And we have calculation on strain gauge. This is a formula for wire strain gauge. Okay, so this is strain gauge. Metallic bonded strain gauge. A fine wire element is cemented to a thin sheet of paper. So this is thin wire or fine wire. Okay. The measurement of the sensitivity of a material to strain is called the gauge factor. Okay. The formula is del R over R divided with del L over L. So del R is the K is equal to GF. It is gauge factor. Del R is equal to the change in the initial resistance in ohm. Because when we apply stress on the strain gauge, the length will change. Okay, the length of the thin wire will change. Either it is increase or decrease, and then the resistance will change as well, either increase or decrease. So the change is denoted as del R. R is the initial resistance without strain. Del L is the change in the length in meter, and L is the initial length in meter without strain. But the fraction of del L over L is called as strain. Okay, any question? Gauge factor is the ratio of the fractional change in electrical resistance to the fractional change in length. Okay, so fractional change in resistance over fractional change in length. GF for metallic string gauges is usually around 2. The actual GF is provided by the sensor vendor or sensor documentation in your data sheet. So this is an example. Given a resistance strain gauge with GF is equal to 2, strain is 1 micro and R is 120 ohm. Okay, so the unit for strain is, there is no unit for strain because strain is equal to length over length, right? So no unit. Usually the unit will be meter over meter. Okay, so consider as no unit. So the strain here is 1 micro and R is equal to 100 ohm. Calculate del R. Okay. So this is the general equation. K equal to K or GF is equal to del R over del L over L. Okay. Calculate del R. So del R is equal to K multiply with del L over L and then multiply with R. Okay. K or GF is given to multiply with R on 120 and then multiply with the strain. Del L over L is the strain. Strain is 1 micro. Okay, so this is the change in resistance after we apply stress on this strain gauge. So the change in resistance is 240 micro ohm. Okay, and the new resistance is the old plus the change. Okay, so this is the new resistance. Any question?
No.
No, Doctor.
Okay. So the application of strain gauge is normally used in a bridge arrangement in which the gauge forms one arm of the bridge or all for the all arms. Okay, the bridge may be AC or DC actuated. A simple DC arrangement is shown. Okay, so both sensors here have the same R value. Okay, so only one of the gauges is an active element producing an output proportional to the strain. The other gauge is not strain but simply balance the bridge. Okay, so one is stress, the other one is for reference or dummy to balance the bridge. Okay. So we have discussed in our previous class. Resistance of fine wire is very sensitive to temperature and stress variation. It will contribute error. Both gauges will experience the same effect caused by temperature changes, and stress strain will balance the circuit. Okay, so this is concept of Wheatstone bridge. We know we have learned this in Wheatstone bridge. So if the circuit is unbalanced, so it will be offset voltage. Okay, there will be output voltage at the terminal, right? Okay, so before we give strain on the Wheatstone bridge or on the strain gauge, so the V out is equal to Aiman Firdaus, before we give force or before we give strain or before we give pressure on the strain gauge, the output voltage is equal to Aiman Firdaus. Aiman Firdaus. Mafidah tak ada? Mafidah ada ke tak ni?
Ada doktor?
So before we give this stress, we give stress to the strain gauge. Initially, the output voltage is equal to?
Tahu doktor.
Hey, balak markah lah yang lepas punya interview tu. Boleh? Azad?
Apa doktor?
Azad? Initially,
Ya.
before we apply stress on the strain gauge, the output voltage is equal to?
0 ke?
Betul lah tu? Is equal to 0. Okay, and then when we apply stress, okay, when we apply stress to the Wheatstone bridge or to the strain gauge, okay, so it will be non-zero output voltage, okay. So that output voltage we need to calculate. How to calculate? Same as in Wheatstone bridge, okay. Same as in Wheatstone bridge, okay, like this. We calculate like this. We use the concept of what, Zuhairi? We use the concept of Zuhairi?
Ya doktor.
So this is the concept of?
Voltage divider.
Yes, voltage divider. So after we calculate for the change in R, we can further calculate for V out, okay, or the voltage at the terminal, okay, because of the unbalanced condition, because of the stress that we apply, okay. So this is the so we continue previous example, okay. We continue. So determine the bridge offset voltage. Okay, this is the information that we have. Gauge factor is equal to 2, strain is equal to 1 micro, and R is equal to 1 to O. So we can calculate for V, the delta V, okay. So we put VR3 minus VR4, okay, or VRD minus VRA, okay. So 120 for all R. So 100 divided with 1 to O plus 1 to O here, multiply with the voltage source, minus the new R4, okay, because of the stress that we apply. Okay, this is the new R4 after we add with the del R. Okay, divided with this, and we will get the value of V. What is the value of V here? Dia Syawal cakap ni. Okay, so what is the value for del V or the voltage at VAB? Now, please calculate. And type here. Equal to what? Fatrul?
Doctor, can I see voltage of source?
Please type here what is the value of V. Del V.
Doktor, kan kalau macam circuit tu kan dia tak bagi nilai VS, macam mana kita nak darab ni kan?
Tak ada kan? Bagus. Okay, that's good. So the voltage source is not given, right?
Yes.
Okay, so we cannot calculate for del V. Okay, that's why the answer is not provided here. Okay, good. So this is the other application of strain gauge, which is load cell. Okay, load cells. Load cell is a transducer which converts force into a measurable electrical output. Okay. Sekejap. Kelas. Biasalah kat rumah dengan anak-anak macam-macam. Okay. So this is the application of strain gauge load cell. Convert force into a measurable electrical output. So load cell dominate the weighting industry. Okay. Because almost all electronic weighting scale use load cell for the measurement of weight. Accuracies from 0.03% to 0.25%, meaning that the error, right? The error of the measurement of the device. Okay, the error of the device is very small, from 0.03% of the full scale. A load cell usually consists of 4 strain gauges in a Wheatstone bridge configuration. Load cell comes in various ranges like 5 kg, 10 kg, 100 kg, and more. Okay. So a strain gauge based load cell is placed at each of the 4 corners of the scale or into the feet of the scale. So imagine that this is your weight scale, penimbang berat. Okay. So strain gauge located or placed at each of the 4 corners of the scale or into the feet of the scale. 2 of the load cells are positioned in tension mode and the other 2 are positioned in compression mode. Okay. The electrical signal generated by the load cell are in few millivolts. Okay. So it need to be further amplified by some amplifier. Okay. And the Arduino, the microcontroller converts the voltage into the weight values in grams. Okay. So we know that the output from the load cell or from the strain gauge is voltage, right? Am I right? The output from the strain gauge, from the bridge, is voltage, right? Okay. And then how to convert it to weight? Okay, because we apply strain gauge for weight scale. So we use microcontroller to convert the output voltage into weight, okay, kg or gram. Understand or not? Okay, so you can watch this video. I put two links here. So how load cell is operated, okay, for strain gauge, okay, by using strain gauge. Okay, so load cell is a transducer that measure force, okay. When we give force, okay, for example, we want to measure weight, okay, so we give a force. So we will get, so the circuit will be unbalanced and we will get the output voltage. Okay, so this force output for electricity, meaning that we will have voltage output voltage, okay. So this is the example for miniature load cell. Okay, there are a few types of load cell. The most common load cells contain strain gauges to perform the sensing. So inside this load cell, we have strain gauges. We have 4 strain gauges here. Either a purpose-designed strain gauge or strain gauge in a Wheatstone formation can be used. So this is strain gauge. Okay, strain gauge is one of application of Wheatstone bridge. So this is a popular. So this is the application of strain gauge, resistive transducer. This is miniature. Okay, bending beam, low profile construction for limited space. Okay, this is the other one. Okay. It will give strain to the strain meter. Okay. Okay, later you can watch the video. Okay, we have covered this during our previous class. How about this? Okay, this is capacitive transducer. We have covered for variable plates transducer. Okay, so the application for capacitive transducer to measure displacement velocity, acceleration, force, pressure, vacuum, and so on. Okay, this is variable plate area transducer that we have covered on Monday. Capacitive pressure. Okay, the other one is capacitive pressure transducer. This is capacitive pressure transducer, has a static plate. Okay, this is static plate and a deflected flexible diaphragm with a dielectric in between. Okay, so this is deflected diaphragm with a dielectric in between. Okay, so this is dielectric. So that's why we call it as capacitive transducer, because of this dielectric. Okay, but a force is exerted or applied to the outer side of the diaphragm. Okay, when the force is applied here, the distance between the diaphragm and the static plate changes. So the distance between the diaphragm and the static plate will be changed. A change in pressure will widen or narrow the gap between the two plates, which varies the capacitance. So the change of the length here, okay, will varies the capacitance. This change in capacitance is then converted into a usable signal. Okay, this is an example of pressure transducer. Okay, a pressure transducer, sometimes called as pressure transmitter, convert pressure into an analog electrical signal. The strain will produce, okay, so again, a strain gauge is applied here. Produce an electrical resistance change proportional to the pressure. Okay. Pressure transducer. Convert pressure into an electrical signal. So this is pressure transducer. Most common type is, okay, the conversion achieved through strain gauge. Okay, pointed into the diaphragm of the device. It will provide analog signal. This is pressure transducer. Okay. Voice strain gauge. Kat mana tadi? Ini dah kan? Belum kan?
Belum doktor. Okay, so the next is inductive transducer. To measure displacement, velocity, acceleration, and so on. Okay, so based on change in the magnetic characteristic of an electrical response. So we have variable reactance transducer and linear LVDT, linear variable differential transformer. Okay. So I think I have covered this. So can be categorized as self-generating and passive. Okay, so self-generating meaning that voltage is generated due to the relative motion between conductor and magnetic field. Passive require external source. Okay. Motion of the object result in changes in the inductance of the cause of the transducer. For example, an inductive electromechanical transducer convert physical motion into a change in inductance. Okay, so kita cover lagi ni kan? So inductance is equal to mu r mu naught n square A over L.
So mu R is permeability of free space. This is the fixed value for mu R. Okay. Free space is air. Mu naught is mu naught is for air. Mu R is relative permeability of core. Usually it is given. Okay. N is number of turns. A is the area. Okay. Or pi r square. In meter, L is length of the coil in meters. Okay, change in self-inductance with number of turn and permeability. This figure transducer is for the measurement of displacement of linear and angular movement respectively. So the displacement, when there is displacement, so the inductance will be created. Okay. In both cases, as the number of turns are changed, the self-inductance and the output also change. Okay. With the change of number of turns, so the L, the inductance will be changed. Okay. This is variation of permeability. Okay. So this inductive transistor works on the principle of variation of permeability causing a change in self-inductance. When the iron core is inside the winding, its permeability is increased, and so the inductance will be increased. Permeability increased, inductance will be increased. Okay, variable reluctance. The transducer consists of a coil wound on a ferromagnetic core. The displacement which is to be measured is applied to a ferromagnetic target. The core and the target are separated by an A gap. Okay, so this is the general equation for inductance. The reluctance of the iron part is negligible. So what is ferromagnetism? It is a kind of magnetism that is associated with iron, cobalt, nickel, and some alloys or compounds containing one or more of these elements. Okay. So this is the general formula for inductance. Okay, so this is iron or target, our target. It is ferromagnetic. So the iron or the target can be moved close to the core or far from the core. Okay, this is the movement. Okay. So this is A gap. So when the iron or the target is far from the core, the A gap will be higher. Okay. The A gap will be higher. So the L will be lower. Okay, because it is inversely proportional to the L. Okay. This is output connector. Okay, so the example or the application for this is traffic light. Okay, imagine that this iron is equal to car. When car, okay, remember that we have learned about induction loop. Okay, for traffic light sensor, right? So this is induction loop. Okay, that is apa ni? This is placed, okay, on the surface of the road. Okay, this iron is car. When car moving towards the core, okay, toward this induction loop, the A gap will become lower, okay, or the length become lower, so the induction will be higher. Okay. The self-inductance of the coil is inversely proportional to the length of the A gap. When the target is near the core, the length and A gap are small, and it will increase the self-inductance. Okay, so we have learned this during our class on Monday. So I have rearranged. I add some notes here and there. So please refer to the new notes in Microsoft Teams, and I have discarded the old one. Okay. We have covered this. Okay. Is the electronic. Okay, class, we will continue chapter. This is chapter 7 actually. Okay, chapter 7 next week. We will continue. Okay, so now let's try one example from tutorial. Okay, so let's try only one example in tutorial 6. Okay, tutorial 6 is for chapter 7. Okay. This is the question. Contrast the resistance change produced by 150 micrometer per meter. Okay, so meter over meter. Okay, strain in because del L divided with L. Okay, so this is strain. 150 micro is strain in a metal gauge with GF. Okay, gauge factor is equal to 2.13. With a semiconductor. Okay, the first one is for metal gauge with 2.13. The second one is for the semiconductor string gauge with GF is equal to -151, and the number of resistances for both, okay, for both material is 120 ohm. So this is the basic equation. In our notes, it is K equal to GF equal to del R over R divided with del L over L or strain. Okay, so we find for the metal gauge. Okay, metal gauge with gauge factor is equal to 2.13. So the question is to find the resistance change, meaning that del R. So del R is equal to GR multiplied with strain multiplied with R. Okay, so GF is equal to 2.13. Okay, 2.13 multiplied with strain. Strain is 150 micro. This one. Okay, 150 micro, and then multiply with R. R is 120, and we'll get this answer. So after we apply stress on this strain gauge, the resistance is changed by 0.038 ohm. Okay. The other material is semicon strain gauge with this gauge factor. So the same formula is applied. We just change the value of GF -151, and we get 2.72 ohms. Okay. Why we get negative? When a strain gauge or metallic conductor is subjected to compression, it is said to negatively strain. Okay, we compress. When we compress, the strain is said to be negative. When the strain gauge is subject to negative strain or compression, its length decrease and its area of cross section is increased. Okay, when we compress, the length is decreased and the area will be increased. Okay, that's all. Any question? Can I understand? Understand or not? Okay, understand. Yes. Bagus. So next week we will continue chapter 7 and inshallah continue tutorial 6. Okay. This is number 9. Never mind, we cover it next week. Okay.